Yeah, so there's this quote from Buffett that he said, you know, the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. And that might be true based off of his definition of success. But I've read enough biographies on the man to recognize that my definition of success is radically different than his. And so I think it's really important to figure out who you're getting your information from and whether that good information is perhaps bad advice for you based off of the way that you want to live your life. There's this whole collection these days of these new kind of self-help guru kind of business leaders who are nihilists in every sense of the word. I mean, their outward morals that they lead with are so clearly wrong and backwards. They talk about how you should skip the weddings of your friends. They talk about how you should not have any hobbies. They talk about how, you know, if you want to be successful, if you want to rise above, if you want to whatever, then you have to say no to everything and focus on that. And I mean, they might be right. Like, this might be how you reach that level. But I guess my question is why? Like, what are we doing here? Like, for what purpose? Right? To be there more for the people that we love. Right? To do good work but not live to work, to go to bed tired but not exhausted, you know, ready for sleep, excited to wake up again. Like, that to me is why we should work. And I do believe that work is important, but I believe that there's other stuff that's really important in life too. And part of the problem is not necessarily these leaders that are spouting out these things about how we should miss the weddings of our friends, which is ridiculous, by the way. You should not miss the weddings of your friends because you have to hustle a little bit more. I mean, that is just so clearly idiotic. There has not been a single case of somebody on their deathbed that said, I really, really wish that I skipped more weddings of my friends to work harder. Like, that just does not exist. You don't have to go very far and read very many accounts from people to realize that the number one thing that people later in life regret is working too hard for riches that they now realize actually weren't that important and did not spend as much time doing the things and being with the people that they love and give them that attention. And so I don't even know, the hard part for me is I don't even know whether the people saying these things really believe it themselves. I always wonder how much of it is just they know that this is going to get a reaction online. And it's rage bait. You know, some people are willing to play the game of social media influencers so much to the point where they put out purposefully divisive statements that they don't quite believe, because they know it's going to get a response and attention towards them. I think that's wrong. It's not what I want to do. I've chosen not to engage with it in any way, because of course, if you engage with it negatively, then what you're doing is giving them what they want anyway. But what happens then is that people who engage with it negatively and call out this person then get a lot of clout themselves and create attention around themselves. There was this guy who put out this post, not too long ago, about how he, skips weddings or whatever of his friends. And I didn't find it because he puts it out, because I stopped following his stuff a long time ago, because I don't believe his morals are good morals to live a good life. And so, his information might be good of how to make sales, but there's a lot of people who can tell me how to make sales. I like to listen to people whose morals I agree with as well. And it's this idea of okay, well, if you've decided not to have children and not to live a family and not to have hobbies and things like that, that's cool. That's your decision. I don't judge. But the way that you live your life and manage your business is not going to be the way that I'm going to live my life and manage my business, because I've made different personal decisions than you have. And so there's no point in me even listening to what you're saying. There's lots of people who can educate me on what you're educating me on. And of course, so I didn't find this post that this person put out from them putting it out, because I blocked them a long time ago, but instead I found it because somebody else shared a picture of it and made a response to it, which is exactly what the original person wanted, by the way. They know what they're doing. They know that they're being purposefully controversial and nihilistic, and they understand where they stand, probably not that far away from the center, but if you speak like a reasonable human being who maybe believes something a little bit, but not that much, because that's basically how all human beings are, then you're not going to get a response online. So you have to speak way over here, of course, right, in order to get that response online. And so this other person that I do follow, that I like her stuff, single mother posts it and basically talked about how this didn't apply and how ridiculous it is, and a very strong statement in the other direction. And she, of course, got a tremendous amount of clout. So for her, this was a very successful post for her, sharing this other person's rage bait. And so you see how this whole system is kind of designed to reward people for putting out really idiotic statements that I don't even know if they quite believe. And then other people are rewarded for calling out, i.e. sharing, i.e. giving them, this original person, exactly what they wanted in the first place. I guess what I think about with this is you have to decide, if you're going to be online, what type of person online that you're going to be. Are you the type of person who's going to make reaction videos to people doing dumb shit on the internet because you think that it's going to get you the most amount of attention? Because it probably will. It probably will. I have a friend named Brett Contreras. He calls himself the glute guy. One of the best biomechanics, one of the best communicators in the fitness industry. And like, we came up in the blogging game together, right? But he's now built a big platform across social media as well. And he does react videos. But his react videos are celebrating people who make good videos. And it's a beautiful thing. And I sent him a message one day. I sent him a text message, and I told him how grateful I was for him. Because I know that his decision in doing that was a decision that takes into account the fact that those react videos are by design not going to be as popular on the internet as a react video calling out some dumb shit person making some dumb shit video. But what he's doing is he's spreading good stuff in the world. And that's what I think we should judge ourselves on. If somebody does something good, we should catch them in the act of doing something good. We should not go out of our way to have an entire team finding people doing dumb things so that we can make a react video, because all we're doing is encouraging those dumb things and spiraling downward and downward and downward. And so I guess I challenge you, as you're listening to this, watching this, I don't know how the internet works. This is going to go to space. I'm speaking into a camera, but as you're doing whatever you're doing, as you're consuming this information, I guess I challenge you to think, what are you doing? How are you showing up? What are you sharing? Is the ultimate goal to get as much clout as possible? Is the ultimate goal to put as much good out into the world as possible? Understanding that those two things are not necessarily the same thing. You can easily build a bigger platform very quickly by basically calling other people dumbasses. And what you have to understand is you're actually encouraging them to improve their level of dumbassery. And that's just not something that I've decided that I want to encourage. And so I've made a decision across my platforms to not talk negatively about anybody. And that doesn't mean I don't think these things, of course not. And that doesn't mean that sometimes I don't film a video or write these things sometimes, but I do it to myself. I will sometimes write in my phone on my Apple Notes a post about how stupid and annoying something else was that somebody else did, because it's cathartic. And then I delete it. I don't post it on the internet because I've just decided that that's not how I want to show up. And that decision is a decision that very much accepts the fact that maybe my platforms won't be as big, but I will be able to sleep a bit better at night.